You are listening to the Gritty Podcast, where we talk about all things gritty. All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am Brian Call. I've got Brad Hunt here beside me. We're on a road trip. We're headed to Boise for our bear tour event this weekend. And we were sitting here talking about some of the questions that we got at the last event we did in Missoula last week.
Yep.
A lot of questions come up, and it sparked this topic. So today we want to talk about increasing your odds of success. Three tips we would give to hunters to help you increase your odds of success, to be in the, that category of hunters who are consistently successful.
Yeah.
What do you need to do to be there? The number one, like right up there near the top, and these aren't like by all means like
in order. This is what you have to do.
And there's a lot of ways to be successful.
Yes.
A lot of things you can do to become more successful. We're not saying that. These are just three that come to our mind. Okay. The number one is longer hunts.
Yeah.
And I realize that's a tough one because people only have so much time off, so much vacation, and so on. But the fact is, most of our hunts are a minimum of 10 days.
Yep, right.
Minimum. And they go up from there. Often 16, 17 days sometimes. Sure, they're 10 days if we're successful, and then we can go home.
Yep. But it's like if there's still days in the season, it's like, I don't want to go home if they're still without a punch tag. If there's still days left in that season, I can hunt.
Picture a spring bear hunt. Often those seasons are a month to 2 months long.
Yeah.
You have lots of days. You head out, you spend the money, the time, the energy, you got all your gear, you've hiked in, and you stay for 10 days. Didn't kill a bear. But you're like on the verge. You're on the verge.
Yeah.
And to stay another 4 or 5 days often is the difference between success and failure. And if you stayed those extra few days, the odds, we believe, go up exponentially.
For sure.
In terms of your success. It just takes a while to figure out the area, to figure out the bears, to figure out your system, to get you back in the groove, to get you in the predator mode.
Yep. And those longer days, those more days give you the ability to, you might have to go in a little deeper or to a new spot, if you have a spot that guys come in and you have multiple hunters in that location, having multiple days, more days can allow you to go to your plan B, your plan C, your plan D. And again, all of that just helps with your increased success
yeah, I was listening to a discussion with Kobe Bryant, and he was talking about how he was forcing the game when he's playing basketball, kind of forcing the game. He wasn't letting the game come to him. And I guess the way the story is, Phil had Michael Jordan come in and talk to Kobe about just letting the game sort of come to him, right, instead of trying to force it. And, I thought about it in a hunting sense, because when we go out into the mountains and we have 10 days, we let the hunt come to us.
It's true.
When you're on a 3-day hunt, you see it, you
kind
go.
Of pushing. You're like, you are making it happen.
It's Hail Mary time.
Yes.
And when you have 10 days, you can take a minute to glass up that bear, see where he's at, slowly make your way into position. Don't blow him out. Relocate him in this basin. Get up there, get in position to take him. Oh no, he just never came out of the trees right here. But you know he's there somewhere. I'm going to spike out here. I'll get him tomorrow. Like, the pace changes when you give yourself time. And that, I believe, increases your odds of success dramatically. Not to mention just there's a certain number of failures that come your way.
Yeah.
And you're kind of looking for that perfect storm, especially like archery elk or something. You need the wind to just play nice. You need the bull to just let his guard down.
Yeah.
You need to be in the right place in the right moment, have located him and got yourself there. You need a whole perfect storm of events to coalesce into this moment where you get a good shot and execute. And for that to happen, often it takes days.
Yes.
It takes time.
Yep.
All right, folks, if you like the show and you want to support us, consider going over to the GOHUNT gear shop. Almost all the gear we use is over there, and when you use the code GRITTY, you save big. And GOHUNT has a setup where you get points every time you shop that go toward future purchases, so you can save big that way too. So head on over to the GOHUNT gear shop, use the code GRITTY, get all the gear you need there. Now, let's get back to the show. So that's number one. Increase the days in the field and on a particular hunt, and your odds of success go up dramatically. A lot of these guys that you see being successful year over year spend 10 to 20 days sometimes with that tag in their pocket trying to get that animal.
Yes, absolutely. And that's, I don't think a lot of guys, I mean, they realize it, but they don't realize how much effort does come into making it that many days. I mean, you talk to Lampers, Brian Barney. I mean, those guys, if they're doing what it takes to be that 10%, in that 10% category, and 9 times out of 10, it comes down to they're spending many more days out in the field.
Yeah, especially archery on rifle hunts. You know, a lot of times they're only 7 days or 10 days long.
Yep.
You have what you have, but you could go out there 5 days early.
Yep.
And be scouting and ready for when the season opens, right? But it's just days in the field have a dramatic impact on success rates.
Yeah, and
I don't think people realize, you know, until you've really done the math, you're like, whoa, that dude hunted 20 days for that deer or that elk or that to get a bear like that. And it doesn't always it doesn't take that many days, but you want to have those days if you can.
Yep. And that can be, it's hard because you got to have maybe the job that allows you to take that many days, or the family, like you just got to figure that out. It's hard.
To go on sort of a tangent, I did a podcast.
We never do that.
Yeah, I did a podcast years ago that was called, like, you know, I think it was Hunt More or Hunt More, Work Less or something.
Right.
And it was pretty comprehensive podcast, but it was basically about becoming financially independent, at least more so. And the primary thing I think that allows men that time is, you know, don't be in debt.
Yeah.
Like, do your best to be a free man. Be content with less material things and or less nice things and more freedom.
Yeah.
And because, you know, I hear a lot of people say, I can't do that. And meanwhile, you know, they have
buy a $4 Starbucks coffee every morning.
Yeah. And then and they drive a
$80,000 truck.
Right. And then sometimes they've got a lot of toys.
Yep.
You know,
and I'd say, you know, a lot of guys,
nothing wrong with any of that, by the way.
No, not at all. And I think it always is, everybody's situation totally changes. And, you know, if you have the means, awesome. That's just going to help you. You know, you're going to keep you out in the field longer, because like for us, we have reliable vehicles now. We've had to spend a little more money on maybe a reliable vehicle, because that's the last thing I want is my truck breaking down and then getting into my days in the field. But, you know, early on it was, instead of buying a new bow or a new rifle every year, every year, a couple of years, it's, I'm going to buy a sleeping bag, because that's going to extend my stay in the field longer, because I'm more comfortable. Puffy jackets, you know, lighter gear. And before I started at Gritty, I'd really started building up my kit
Sure.
that was keeping me in the
Yeah.
field longer.
I mean, if you can have a paid for car,
Mm-hmm.
sell the one you've got. If it's financed,
Absolutely.
pay cash for one or buy one that's really inexpensive. Get rid of your car payment. Get rid of your anything you owe money on. Get rid of it all.
Yep.
Get it down to just the house. I mean, I've done the whole thing. I'm not speaking out of turn here. I'm doing it. I'm speaking from experience. For me, that was a life-changing thing to get myself out of debt, no credit cards and so on. And then I negotiated working from home a few days a week, and then I negotiated for more vacation time. And then I just started my own business, and then I could set my own schedule for when I go or when I don't go.
Yep.
And for a while there, I made a lot less money than I did. I was less wealthy, but I was wealthy in time. So you can restructure your life to be something different if you want to take charge of it and do it. But again, this is not something that is for everybody. You know, a lot of guys just want to go out and do what they can in 5 days, 7 days, and then get back to work. And I applaud that. Go for it. Do it. If you're one of those guys, though, that is more like us and just really wants to spend more time in the field, become more successful, then you're going to have to restructure things a little bit if you can't extend those trips out. And again, it's just time. Time in the mountains equals success. In the same vein, but slightly different, is in a short window of time, the second thing you can do to greatly increase your odds of success or becoming a better hunter, it's just more trips.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in the same vein. It's like,
it is.
It's like, can you hunt 2 or 3 weeks for elk? Go take a break for a week, hit your deer season for a few weeks. You know, after that, go especially if you want to be a mountain hunter.
I think the perfect way to break this down, because we get asked this a lot. So say we hunt 100 days in the field.
Yeah.
And say the average guy gets 10 days in the field.
Yep.
So, I mean, you're literally getting almost 10 years of experience in 1 year that the average guy gets, again, in 10 years.
Right.
And we have become so comfortable. It's probably scary because we are so comfortable in the backcountry.
Yeah.
But it's, snowstorms to rain to freezing temperatures to really, really cold temperatures. That's something that does not keep us off the mountain.
Right.
And having a hot tent, the stove gear is a big thing to keep you out in that field, and building up that gear kit as I talked about before. I mean, it increases your days in the field. It keeps you in the field and doesn't want you to make you go home.
But the more days that you can spend in one season, in a short window, you're going to learn so much more about hunting.
Yes.
And being out there and develop skills.
Animal behavior too.
If you can go on a hunt like to Hawaii where you can shoot like multiple axis deer, or go hunt pigs in Texas or California or something, especially behind a bow.
Desert hunts that are archery
if you can
hunts.
just get out and do a hunt that gives you a lot of stock opportunities, a lot of kills,
a lot of at-bats as far as stocks go,
and add those up over the course, condense them all into one. So maybe it's like you're going to take 60 days off from work, and you're going to go and just dedicate yourself to becoming a master at this. That 160-day window is going to take, if you're going 10 days a year, that's 6 years of knowledge all in one little short window.
Yes.
The learning is exponentially greater. And then what you're able to do is take that and parlay it into now all your future 10-day trips that are a lot shorter, but you'll have greatly increased your skills, both your bushcraft, woodcraft, and your all your backcountry hunting.
Understanding your gear. I mean, as a whole, more days in the field is going to greatly increase your odds of success.
I think the third tip is for guys to become hyper skilled and familiar with their weapon. Whatever it is, if it's a rifle, a bow, become one with that weapon. So you're so familiar with it, so capable with it, that when the moment comes to make that shot, you know what your limitations are in your abilities.
Yep.
You know, and you can execute.
And I think with that comes, take a desert hunt, like a mule deer hunt we've done in the past, whether it's Mexico, it's Arizona, whatever. Say we're bow hunting in Arizona, there's an opportunity there every day for 10 minutes to just throw a target up as you're glassing for deer or whatever and shoot. And it's like, shoot, it's really windy today. I'm not any good out past like 55 yards today.
Yeah.
So
I think when it comes to a bow, your limitations can vary week to week, hunt to hunt.
It's so true.
And if you do have the luxury of being able to shoot, which even when we're in the mountains and we've backpacked in and we bring arrows that we can
stump thumper or something, that
we can continue to shoot with the whole time we're out there in the mountains.
Yep.
And you can kind of know, like, I'm pretty deadly out to 50 yards. But beyond that, I'm having trouble, or I'm out to 80, 40, whatever it is. But I think more than anything, you just need to spend some time shooting your weapon under various conditions, practicing. I know it sounds self-explanatory, like, of course, practice with your weapon, but I am shocked at the guys who don't pull their rifle out and shoot ever.
Right.
Except for when they go out, they don't even shoot. Like, they haven't shot in years, and they're like, "Oh, got my tag," and they don't even shoot before they leave.
And I'm not going to say a name, I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but a very dear person to me is the type of person that, they don't shoot a lot, but it's when hunting season comes around, rifle season, let me throw up a milk jug full of water at 100 yards. I hit it, good enough. Well, and then he has his kids that are using that same rifle, and they go out there and he's shooting at a buck at 250 yards or 300 yards, and he misses.
Yeah.
And so then we take the rifle and we go put it on paper and see where it's hitting at 100 yards. And yes, it hit the milk jug, but it's shooting 5 inches high from center at 100 yards.
You see it a lot with archery too, where guys simply shoot 40 yards max every day, 20, 30, 40, maybe out to 50 in their yard, flat, no steep downhill, no steep uphill, no wind, no like real life scenario conditions. And they feel like, man, I hit the bullseye every time, or it's kill zone over and over again. Hey, if you like our show and you want to support us, you can do that by shopping at Stealthy Hunter, great partner of ours. They sell rifle covers, which we use on every single hunt. They sell glassing pads. They sell supplements. They got CBD gummies, other products over there. Check it out. Make sure you use the code GRITTY. And now, back to the show.
Well, years ago, and I am so guilty of this, I shot field points all the way up until the season started.
Yeah.
And then I'd screw on my 125 grain broadhead, whatever
Fixed
it was.
blade.
Fixed blade, slick trick to muzzies back in the day to whatever, and you walk out, and then you never actually shot a broadhead out of that bow to see where it was hitting. And a lot of them don't shoot to the same point of impact. And so, again, I'm as guilty as anybody back in the day. Now, when we get within a month at least of the season, 100% of my shots are with a field, or a broadhead.
Yeah.
And just understanding where it's hitting and how it's coming out of the bow.
Yeah, I think that it's an extremely important thing to spend your time on, and it's disappointing to be out on a lot of hunts and to find out, you're out there with a guy and he hasn't done any real world scenarios.
Yeah.
And he's shocked when he misses. The Total Archery Challenge, 3D events, all that kind of stuff goes a long way. You and I will go to the Total Archery Challenge.
Yeah.
Pull up, there's like 20, how many targets? Like 24 or
25, something like that.
25 targets. And I think you're ready if every arrow you shot on 25 targets on a course like that ended up in the kill zone or would have killed that animal, whatever it was you were shooting at, that you're dang good to go. I've seen very, very few people pull that off, or at least even get 20. Is you know, you're not talking heart shots, perfect 10s, 12s, so on. But man, if you're just aiming for kills on a foam target, there is that's a good test. Get out there and shoot for kills on foam targets, angles, up, down, wind, branches you're shooting over and through, all that kind of stuff. And with the rifle, similarly, you know what your rifle can do, what's it dialed to, what ranges, how the wind affects your bullet.
Exactly. And I think, you know, if there's the opportunity ever arises and you have that choice to be able to go to a, not necessarily just a long range shooting facility or training, but just a shooting training, I mean, it can really increase your odds when you understand how, you know, holding a rifle. Because if you're putting so much pressure on your stock of your rifle, I mean, you can twist. Putting a level on your scope, making sure it's all leveled. You know, those 400 and 500 yard shots, if you are taking them, I mean, if your scope's not level or your rifle's not level on the mountain, that's going to affect your trajectory of your bullet coming out of the rifle and stuff too. So, you know, if that opportunity is there, take it. Go learn from guys that are really, really good with the rifle. Wind calls.
Those are 3 tips. I mean, 3 things that I think dramatically improve the success rates of guys that are out there. It's hard to, you know, fitness is another one, but I feel like that's covered all the time. And honestly, I think a lot of guys are fairly fit nowadays that are getting out there, fit enough to pull off the hunt. I think they're more fit than they are capable of shooting their weapon by far. I think more guys can't shoot than guys can climb a mountain. Maybe I'm wrong, or I'm just running in different circles, but get good at the weapon. Get your days in the field. That's going to change everything. So anyway, hope you found this episode useful. Thanks for tuning in. Stay gritty, folks.